Braden and Micah coming at you with another podcast.
Welcome everybody to This Is Reviewable.
Do you think everybody listening is just filled with rage right now?
I hope so. I hope all of you collectively rolled your eyes at that.
We're not even going to put a freaking jump scare warning either. Right, Micah?
Oh my gosh. Did you ever watch that video? The jump scare one of the car driving down the peaceful lane and then the zombie pops up?
Yeah, there's a ton of those.
I know. That was just the first one that I remember seeing.
They're all the rage, Micah.
No, they used to be the rage, I feel like, in middle school.
Maybe they'll make a comeback.
Okay, so if you guys can't tell, we're recording from a new place. We decided to be all comfy cozy this week.
That's right. And also, it just feels like a different vibe because we dropped the ball and we didn't.
No, we're just going to switch it up this week.
Yeah, because we dropped the ball and we didn't watch a movie.
Okay, you don't have to be so honest with everybody.
So, we decided it would be fun to go through our picks.
So fun.
Are you gonna let me freaking talk?
Please finish. This sounds so fun.
Oh my word, I'm calling the police. We are...
Oh, okay.
We are going to go through the categories of movie, show, game, and book, and talk about one of each that we think is underrated and deserves a look by you, the viewer. Or a read, or a listen, or a play, or a watch, whatever.
A consumption.
A consumption. And as like a loose ground rule, because recently I've been making those special videos.
Braden's special videos.
Yeah, and maybe Micah will start making them too at some point soon. I have tried to stay away from properties that I'm planning to make special videos on, or that I've written down to make special videos on eventually. So these are going to be like, and I'm trying to make it, at least personally, I'm trying to make it something that a lot of people probably have not seen or maybe even heard of.
You're putting a lot of rules on this.
I'm just explaining my, where I'm coming from with this. Because these are things that I feel like
Did you explain what the episode is?
Yeah, underrated.
Oh, okay.
These are things that I really feel like are underrated and people should give a chance to, but they're just not popular. That's where I'm coming from with this. Where are you coming from with this? Probably somewhere else. Right?
Well, these are things that I like that I feel like people haven't heard of.
Okay, so you're coming from the same place with me.
Yeah, but...
As me.
Most of these, or all of these, I probably wouldn't make a video on.
Gotcha. So you're coming from the exact same place as me.
Yeah, but with less rules, and it's more fun.
Okay.
And people like it better.
Alright, so what do you want to do? Do you want to do a particular order? Do you care? Do you want to do book first? Is that the most boring?
I was thinking video game was the most boring.
Really?
Yeah.
Should we do video game and then book and then movie and then show?
Let's go game,
What do people
show, book, movie.
You think show is more...
No, least, almost most, almost least, best.
Why?
Gotta keep the people entertained.
Okay, so you said game first?
Yeah.
You want to go first?
Okay. So I'm not sure if I talked about this before. I think the only other episode I might have talked about this is the New Year's episode that we did.
Yeah.
But the video game that I think people might not know about. I only play indie games. Is that what this is?
Yeah, definitely.
I pretty much only play indie games, single player stuff.
Basically whatever I find for you.
Yeah, that Braden thinks would be fun. But I don't ever play, online games or stuff like that. So...
Micah has this lie that she tells everybody that she doesn't play any video games.
I don't play video games.
She says this all the time. Liar.
So... The game that I want people to know about is Nobody Saves the World. And to give, a brief little synopsis of what it is... this white, the color white naked man, right? He's naked?
Yeah.
wakes up and he doesn't know who he is.
But inoffensively naked.
Yeah, and inoffensively white.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Continue.
He wakes up and he doesn't know who he is or where he is or any of that. And he's supposed to go and find Nostramagus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Like Nostradamus.
Yeah. And he steals a magic wand from Nostramagus' assistant named Randy. And he basically goes around this world trying to find Nostramagus. And he gains abilities, and he can turn into different animals using his wand.
Well, and different forms, because he can be he can be a zombie, he can be a knight, he can be an archer. You said animals.
Oh yeah, he can turn into different forms.
But he can also be a turtle and a horse.
Yeah.
So there are animals mixed in there. There's tons. There's tons of them.
Yeah.
And you can like mix and match their abilities together.
Their abilities. So
to make like a custom, your favorite
which
custom
is really
builds.
Fun. And I like this game because it does start out easy, but then as it gets more, your abilities become better, and you have to level up the different forms that you have.
Yeah, and you have to, deal with different. Each attack does like a different type of damage, so that you've got like light attack and like dark attack and like blunt force attack and sharp attacks. And all of your enemies will have different attack types that you need to account for. So it becomes almost like you need to plan your way to get through the dungeons that you have to go through. Yeah.
Is there anything I'm missing?
So I don't know if you knew this, but this game is made by Drinkbox Studios, and they did the 2 Guacamelee games.
Yeah, I knew that.
Oh, you knew that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a really good indie developer. They're very fun. Oh, it's a top-down game. So
which means you're looking bird's eye view.
Right, and like the art style is
it's fun.
It's cartoony, like simple drawings almost, but in a polished way, if that makes sense.
It's very pretty in some places.
Yeah. It's good. It's got a strong art style.
And it's funny.
We'll put some footage in this video, so if you watch on YouTube, you can sneak a try of what of what this looks like. But it's really good. Should we rate these or no?
No.
We'll just say them, right? Do you have anything else you want to say?
I don't think so.
Anything you want to get off your chest?
I wish we would have gotten a special treat. A little treat.
We went to pizza.
That's the thing I needed to get off my chest.
Okay. Well, anyways, I'll go now. Okay. This was kind of hard for me. There's a lot of games I feel like go overlooked.
Would you say you're addicted to video games?
Definitely not. No, I don't play very much anymore. Like, I'm topping out at like 2 hours, 3 hours a week, it feels like nowadays.
Yeah, same.
Right. Micah just got into Stardew Valley and she's been addicted to it. I say got into it. I got her into it, even though I've never played it. I just knew that she would like it. Micah, look at this.
I didn't work very much this week, and I made Brayden take the Switch with him to work, so I wouldn't just spend all day playing Stardew Valley.
Yeah, so it's safe to say you like it.
Yeah.
That's definitely not an underrated game though.
No.
That's, as an indie game, it's very popular. But Nobody Saves the World is a really good pick, because not a lot of people have heard of that.
Oh, thanks, Brayden.
I had a couple of games. I almost want to give them shout-outs, but I'm worried that'll take too long. So I'm just going to tell you what my underrated game is, and I'm giving it to Splinter Cell Blacklist.
What the heck?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that.
So Splinter Cell is one of the very first stealth games that was ever created. So I think first was Thief, and then I think Splinter Cell might have been next, and then Metal Gear Solid. You've heard of Metal Gear Solid, right?
Yeah, but I don't know what it is.
Snake.
No, not Snape.
Yeah, so that's Snake's game. Splinter Cell is a stealth game, and Blacklist is the last game that they created in the series. I think it came out in like 2014 or something. That's easy enough to look up. Bear with me, everyone. Blacklist. So it's called Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell.
Tom Clancy, the author?
The author, yeah. 2013. So this was the last one they made. And this one, the reason I think it's underrated is it gets a lot of shit because it's not like a pure out and out stealth game. If you want to, you can play different styles. So they've got, like, in every mission, it gives you a ranking for 3 different categories, and the categories go Ghost, Panther, and then I can't remember what the last one is, but it's basically what Ghost is you go through the mission without anyone seeing you. You don't kill anybody. You're a ghost. You just ghost through the mission. That's by far the hardest one to do, the hardest way to play the game. Panther is like you kill people, but in a sneaky way, so you're not detected. And it's easier because, you know, you're getting rid of guards, so it's easier to move through the mission without getting caught. And then the other one is just like guns blazing, basically. They know you're there, you're not really being stealthy. And so a lot of people don't like that because this game's heritage is all about stealth and hiding in the shadows and hiding bodies in the shadows if you need to take them out, shooting out the lights, sneaking around. And people didn't like the fact that you now could play in a different way that wasn't really stealthy. But I think if you play this game stealthily, there's so much to enjoy as a stealth game fan. There were like challenge missions where I was like freaking sweaty palms. I'd gone through this mission like 20 times. I keep getting caught in different spots. And it's just like a, you know, an iteration thing where you learn the guards' patterns, you learn the spots you can hide in, you learn the windows that you need to jump out at the right time so that a guard passing doesn't see you. And like you get to a point where you're just so good at the game and you feel like an absolute ninja. And it's really, really satisfying. And then also, if you want to go the whole Panther route, you can feel like John Wick, where you're just taking people out left, right, and center, you know, sneaking up behind people. It's really cool. So I definitely recommend Splinter Cell Blacklist. I'll be very sad if they don't finish that Splinter Cell remake that they said they were going to do many years ago. That's all I have.
Okay.
What are we on now?
I think TV show. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. So I picked the show... Is this FX?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I told you, FX as a studio is underrated in and of itself.
That's crazy. Okay, so I picked the FX show Justified, and this is a modern western set in Harlan County, Kentucky.
The deep dark hills.
And the main actor in this show is Timothy Oliphant and
Walton Goggins.
Yeah, I can never remember his name.
For those of you who maybe that sounds familiar, you know him from The Killer. Do you think I'm ever going to get bored of that joke?
No.
Just kidding. So Walton Goggins is the ghoul in the new Fallout show.
And so this is Raylan Givens' Timothy Oliphant. And he is a U.S. Deputy Marshal.
Uh-huh.
Raylan Givens.
Uh-huh.
And he moves back to his home state/home county, Harlan, in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And is now a deputy marshal, and him just living life.
Yeah.
But the chemistry between Raylan and... What's his name? Boyd?
Yeah, so Walton Goggins' character is named Boyd Crowder.
They just have some of the best on-screen chemistry ever.
Yep. That's not even exaggeration.
Yeah.
It's probably, I can't think of a better, like, duo in a TV show that I've ever seen, personally. Can you?
No.
And, and when I say that, like, I'm including Walt and Jesse from Breaking Bad. I'm including, some of those legendary TV duos. These guys are my favorite.
Yeah. Parents' guide on this is language. Not a ton, right?
There's really not very much language. It gets more violent in the later seasons.
Yeah.
I think there's 6 seasons of this.
There's one boob in the whole show.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so stupid. I remember.
It was like in the last season, too.
Yeah.
We made it. He made it like 6 seasons in, and they're like...
No, there's only... Oh, yeah. No, I think it was like season 3, maybe, or 4.
Oh.
And they're, like, for no reason.
Yeah.
There's no nudity in this show, and then you see one boob.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Right.
I think it's mostly just language and violence and...
Mostly
substances.
violence.
Yeah. Parents' guide on it.
It's very serialized. So, like, most of the time, each episode is its own self-contained thing. But there are threads that continue throughout the season. But, like, each episode has its own story that wraps up within the episode. But it's done really well. Like, the threads make sense that lead into future episodes.
How long ago did we watch this show?
This was during quarantine.
So, like, 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, we watched it years ago, and literally today we were quoting it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so good.
Yeah.
It's a great show with a lot of great moments to look back on.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's badass. It's great.
Yeah.
And seriously underrated.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that Yellowstone is popular and this show is not drives me crazy. It's driven me crazy ever since we finished this show. Micah can attest to that.
That's true. Okay. What did you?
Okay, so my show that I decided to talk about is called Derry Girls.
Spell it out.
DERRY GIRLS. If any of you didn't know how to spell girls and you were always embarrassed about that, that's for you.
It's not spelled GORLS.
No, that's not right. So this is a Netflix show, and it's about these 4 girls. There's Erin, Claire, Michelle, and Orla. Yeah, 4. 4 girls that live in Londonderry, which is a town in Northern Ireland in the 80s. And it's just about them growing up.
And?
Huh?
4 girls and?
Oh, and
Michelle's cousin.
What's his name? What's that guy's name? This is a comedy, by the way. Coming of age kind of comedy. Drama comedy. And so one of the very first jokes is Michelle's cousin has to come to their all-girls Catholic school because...
He's English,
and if they'd sent him to the boys' school, he would have gotten beat up. So he has to go to this all-girls Catholic school, and so he becomes like the 5th girl, quote unquote. But it's really funny. It's very, very funny.
Do you remember when James was like, I have to go to the bathroom?
And they don't let him out.
They don't let him go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
There's no boys' restrooms in the whole school. So he just has to hold his pee all day.
He keeps asking, and he's like, should I just go to the girls' bathroom? Don't be gross. No, you can't go there. And then like all the girls tell him that, and then he asks like the headmistress, Sister Michael. She's like, don't be daft. She is hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
She's like just like imagine Willy Wonka but a nun. That's what she is. She like could not be less bothered with all these kids that are running around her school. She just wishes she could live her life and ignore everybody. She's so funny. What what to say about this show. Yeah, it's just, you got to check it out. I think you'll know pretty quick if it's going to be a show that you like or not. It's definitely Irish humor. So lots of
Swearing.
lots of dry wit, but they do get themselves into some really funny situations. So
Yeah.
I think it's worth like 2 or 3 episodes just to, and they're short. Episodes are like 20 minutes.
20, 30 minutes.
So definitely look into it. I could see people being a little bit annoyed by like how chaotic the girls are, but you get used to it, and there are side characters there that help balance them out. In the end, it's really heartfelt at the, you know, as it all culminates. This is a show that went for 3 seasons and it ends at the perfect time.
Yeah.
And in the perfect way. And it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's one of those rare occasions of them knowing when to stop and doing it, and doing it well, sticking the landing. So watch Derry Girls. It's excellent.
Nice. Okay, so I don't know if this is really that underrated. I just know a lot of people that I've talked to haven't read it.
Mm-hmm.
Greenlights by Matthew McConaughey.
Mm-hmm.
It's his memoir. This book, this is going to sound so dumb. This book made me want to be a better person.
Mm.
And I've told that to other people that have read this, and then they read it, and then
So what happened? You haven't changed. That was mean.
I haven't read it in a while.
Read it again, you'll become better.
But basically this book talks about, you know, him growing up, how he got his start into acting, and then how he got really big after... What's the Josh Grisham book movie?
Oh, Time to Kill.
Yeah, Time to Kill. So he got super big after Time to Kill, and
That movie was alright.
didn't want... He kind of lost... He didn't know who he wanted to be and how he wanted to handle all this. So he went on some soul searching in Africa, and...
Did he bless the rains?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. Gotta bless the rains.
Uh-huh. And how he met his wife, and having kids and all of that.
When he met his wife, did he say, "It's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you"?
Mm-hmm.
That's romantic.
Yeah. But it was just... It's interesting. I mean, he's done a lot of cool stuff in his life.
Yeah.
Acting aside, you know. There is some language in this book. But I think that's really it, right?
Probably.
And if you listen to the audiobook, he's the one that reads it, which was also really cool.
That's definitely the best way to consume it.
Yeah.
Because remember, we were talking to our brother-in-law, and he was, like, kind of gushing about the way that he delivers, you know, the way that he tells the stories. He's got that, like...
Who?
Jared.
He read this?
Yeah. He's got that, like, Texas drawl, and he's, you know, just that kind of voice that you imagine listening to over a campfire. So, some of the tales feel a little bit tall that he's telling.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. So if you get the chance to audiobook this, then it's...
But the physical book is also really cool because it has pictures inside of it and stuff.
Yeah.
That are of him and stuff, which is cool.
Yeah. But he's a performer, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, if you can listen to him performing his own memoir, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, am I missing anything? Just some of the stories in there were really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes to Africa and he, like, floats down the Amazon River naked, and he gets into, like, a fight with, like, the biggest man in some tribe.
Uh-huh.
Like a wrestling match or whatever. Just...
It's
a really good book.
His study abroad in Australia. And the psycho...
Africa?
And the psycho family he got.
That's...
Yeah.
Okay, well that is definitely worth reading, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay, so I am gonna do some shout-outs actually real quick.
Boo.
I know. As I was thinking of books, recently I've been reading a lot of classics, so it was hard for me to find something that was underrated. But I was able to dig back into the past and come up with a couple. So there's two authors that I want to recommend in general. The first one is Marcus Zuzak, and he wrote The Book Thief.
How do you spell his last name?
I think it's Zusak. He's Australian. Really good writer.
He did what book?
The Book Thief.
Oh, that's a really good book.
It's excellent, yeah. But he also did one called I Am the Messenger, and that was my favorite book for a very long time when I was a teenager. Super worth looking into him. He's great. The other author shout-out that I want to do real quick is autocorrect. This autocorrected to Cormacia McCarthy, but it's Cormac McCarthy. So he's considered... He actually died last year, which is a real huge bummer. But he was considered by a lot of people to be the greatest living American author a year ago, back when he was still around. He wrote stuff like No Country for Old Men, The Road. Both of those have been adapted into movies. He wrote Blood Meridian. Lots of stuff. He's very poetic. Just very good author. I would look into each book before you read it, though, especially if you're going to read something like Blood Meridian, because it's some of his stories can be rough and a little bit nihilistic. But,
rough in what way?
Blood Meridian is really violent and really, like, sort of horrifying, you know? It's about the Glanton Gang. It's loosely based on the Glanton Gang, which was a group of mercenaries that went into Mexico and just slaughtered a bunch of natives there.
Whoa.
So that's what Blood Meridian's about. But there are others that are a little bit, maybe more palatable for more people. This is why I say look into the book before you read it. When it comes to Cormac McCarthy, just use your judgment. But the book that I want to shout out as underrated is The Graveyard Book, which was written by Neil Gaiman. Definitely not an underrated author, but I think this one somehow managed to slip through the cracks somehow. So Neil Gaiman wrote Coraline, American Gods, Stardust, Neverwhere, Good Omens, all that stuff. He also wrote this quote-unquote children's book about this little baby named Nobody.
That's not his name, is it?
That's the name he gets, yeah. So what happens to Nobody's family is there's an assassin in their house, and he kills his parents, and he's supposed to kill Nobody, but Nobody manages to crawl out of the house and crawl down the street and crawl into a graveyard. And the ghosts in the graveyard adopt him, and they raise him, and they name him Nobody, and they call him Bod for short.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just about him growing up with these ghosts and trying to eventually fit in with the outside world and connect with his human self, because he's around all these dead people all the time, but he's living. So there's like a little bit of a push and pull going on with what he wants and where he wants to be.
But it's also cool because he
develops this ability to
be transparent almost.
Yeah, and almost phase through different things, and he starts to lose that a little bit as he spends time away from the graveyard. And eventually, conflicts arise, and it's tense. It's funny, it's exciting, it's really just well written, and it's short. You can get through it pretty quick.
I think this was one of the books that got me back into reading.
Yeah, this one's great. And not a lot of people have read it, so read it, please. Okay, movies?
Yeah.
Okay. The movie that I want to talk about is called The Nice Guys. And the reason that I feel very comfortable that this is underrated is because every time I bring it up in conversation, people are like, oh yeah, the one with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg? Yeah, I've seen that one. That one's funny. That's not The Nice Guys. That's The Other Guys. The Nice Guys is Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, and they play private detectives in the 1970s in Los Angeles, and they're looking for a girl named Amelia, and it's really, really, really funny.
My name is Amelia.
Yeah.
If you see me,
Yeah.
tell me my name.
For those of you that were introduced to how good of a comedic actor Ryan Gosling is through Barbie, we knew about this for a long time. And it's because of The Nice Guys. He's really great in this movie.
And he has the perfect Ryan Gosling upset scream.
Yep.
No! No!
Really high pitched.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's maybe I'll like throw a little clip with sound from the trailer in this so you can just kind of get an idea.
Right, look, when you're talking to your doctor, just tell him you have a spiral fracture of the left radius.
No! No!
Deep breath. You mind if I have an apple?
This is a very like offbeat alternative style comedy where like most of the jokes are coming from the interaction between the two characters. Russell Crowe also is perfect for this too.
Yeah.
Cuz like they come from two different places. Ryan Gosling's character is kind of like this weaselly, yeah, almost like a deadbeat, but like he's almost like a con man a little bit in the way, but he's also good at being a PI.
A comment in the way that he's lazy.
Right. Yeah. And Russell Crowe comes from a much more rough and tumble, like almost bouncer sort of background, and their interactions are just awesome and hilarious. Big parental guidance on this movie though.
Yeah, so this is rated R for nudity. There's a decent amount of nudity, language, and some violence.
Yeah, there's not a ton of violence, but there's a decent amount of nudity and a lot of language.
Yeah.
So be aware of that. But this is such a funny movie. And there's like this is one of those movies like if you keep watching it, you'll realize how well written the dialogue is and appreciate it more and more with every watch. Like there's the first time you watch it, you'll have like a couple of quotes bumping around in your mind and you'll say them to whoever you're with for the next week or whatever. And then you'll watch it again, you'll get a completely new set of quotes that you'll just love to use from this movie.
It's so funny.
It's really, really great. So watch The Nice Guys, but only if you're okay with what's in The Nice Guys. Make sure, again, you use your judgment.
Okay, so my movie is a lot different
Yeah.
than Braden's. It's called Gone Baby Gone, and it has Casey Affleck in it, and who's Ben Affleck's brother.
Yep.
What's the girl's name?
Michelle Monaghan.
What else is she in?
She's in True Detective. She's in Mission Impossible 3. She's in...
Okay.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, also, a little fun fact, same director of The Nice Guys.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang? Oh,
yeah, same
nice.
Writer-director.
That would have been a good one also.
I know, that's another underrated
That's a little
one.
shout out. Okay, so...
Wait, there's more actors that you're forgetting about. This is kind of a stacked cast.
Oh, Ed Harris.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman. Amy Ryan. Oh, Amy Ryan from The Office.
She plays Holly from The Office.
You will not recognize her in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, but those are the main ones.
So, this movie is set in Boston, and it's about Casey Affleck and Michelle... How do you say her name?
Monaghan.
and they're private detectives?
Yeah.
PIs?
Yeah.
And this little girl goes missing in their neighborhood, and the police are trying to find her. Everybody's trying to find her. It made it on the news. In the news, just all over the place. You know, they're on TV. Please find my daughter. You know, find this little girl. Help us find her. And after a few days, how long has it been?
I can't remember.
I think maybe a few days. The little girl who went missing, her uncle, comes and asks... No, the aunt, right?
The aunt and the uncle.
Yeah. Come and ask these PIs to help find their niece. And it's the story of them trying to find this little girl and what they go through and their relationship a little bit.
Yeah. But I think like the main... So if this wasn't the first movie he directed, it was one of the first movies that Ben Affleck directed and wrote.
By himself? Separate of Matt Damon?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, who I'm thinking of Matt Damon?
Right. Well, I mean, this was one of his first directed
Okay.
movies. He's been writing for a long time.
Yeah.
But I would say that, like, this movie is heavily focused on ethical questions.
Yeah.
And moral dilemmas and, you know, what the right thing to do is in these situations that the characters find themselves in.
It's, yeah, a very ethically discussion driven movie. Is that the right way to... There's just, I will say, this movie is rated R. I think
It's heavy.
For language and violence, but also for dark themes going on in this movie. And my thoughts on that, I have a hard time with really heavy stuff sometimes, but every once in a while I feel like personally I need to watch something as like I need to be a good person in this world so that to counteract the bad or whatever. And this is a movie to kind of think about that, you know. What type of person do you want to be at the end of this movie, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of.
I don't know.
Are you talking about the last dilemma?
Yeah.
That shows up?
And just in general of the whole movie. But yeah.
Right. This like has a little bit of some of the movies that I love, like Sicario, has a little bit of that in it. Because in Sicario, the main question is like, do the ends that we're using justify the means of us fighting the cartel? Similar sort of question arises with, you know, people that hurt children in this movie, and some of the choices that some of the characters make. Is what they're doing justifiable because of who they're doing it to?
Or for.
Right. And then there is a massive moral dilemma that you get introduced to by the end of the movie that is really fun to talk about, I feel like, if you watch this with other people.
This is one of those movies that, like, while you're watching, it's kind of heavy on your heart. Afterwards, it's definitely heavy on your heart.
Right.
But it's something that is definitely worth talking about.
Right. And
like watching it for the discussion afterwards.
And aside from that, like it's
so well made.
Yeah.
It's so well acted. It's so well written. This is one of those movies that you don't feel like you're watching a movie. You feel like you're watching real life.
Right. Something that could happen.
Yeah.
And does.
And it's so well acted that you don't feel like they're actors.
Right. If you've ever seen Mystic River... Wait, not Mystic River. Is it Mystic River? I feel like that's it.
No, what's the other one called?
Not Wind River.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah. If you've ever seen Mystic River, expect that sort of heaviness from this movie. That's probably not reaching a lot of people anyways, because that's another movie I think is pretty underrated and people haven't watched. But if you have seen Mystic River, that's what you can kind of expect. But this is really great. Got anything else you want to say about it?
I just really like this movie. It's definitely worth watching. I don't know. That's it.
Nice. Well,
see ya. Did you need to say anything else?
no.
Oh, okay. Bye.